All right, so it's 2015, November 5th, doing the WIKISPEED stand-up. I will go ahead and kick us off with covering what I did last week, what I plan on doing next week, and if there were any blocks in the way of what we were trying to do. So first off, last week at the oh no, actually, first off, I just watched earlier today Michael Lolchek's demo videos on YouTube about the electric motor module and the coupling the DC and the AC motor together, and they were awesome. Um, it's actually good to see on the demo video what you were discussing a couple of weeks ago that I couldn't envision in my mind there. So that was super nifty. Um, so at the Sunday build party at the Burleson, Texas shop, we set up a new drill press that my brother donated to the shop. I restocked the snack shelf because that is the most important aspect of keeping people at the shop. I also updated the backlog. A lot of this is covered in a demo video that I updated or uploaded to YouTube a few days ago. But basically what we were working on was these new angle plate parts. So we sprayed them down with layout fluid. I think we got about most of them done. I think there were a couple that we were using as test. Um, so we tried painting on with a brush by hand some and spraying some, and pretty much determined that the painting method works better for very small parts and not well for the size parts that we're trying to use. Um, we took one of the parts and went ahead and measured it and marked it with parallel blocks and a scriber, and then center punched it. And that was probably the most challenging part was keeping the center punch directly at the intersection while getting a good just one hit on it. I know that the out of the 8 first holes I did, 2 of them were off a little bit just by not quite getting it lined up perfectly. Um, we also got the first part that we did center punch. We did drill 3 out of the 8 holes. We made sure all the drill was all aligned as best as possible, and of course we'll continue on to that next week. Also, and I did not go and grab it at all for the demo that was required. So maybe I'll just throw that during general discussion. But our last week's process improvement was spouse, partner, significant other, best friend appreciation sprint, I guess. So what I did for my spouse there was we created. We went through several, I would say, iterations of discussion. So what I ended up working on right now is getting her car in order, and then getting a little savings fund for the purchase of a next car. But ultimately, the overall process improvement was to create a backlog, which I have a list of and a few things that were taken care of that, which I was going to demo. But at the very least, when I told her this was what we were doing right now, she immediately ran in and threw things that I need to get done into a backlog. So she, I think, is totally on board with the concept. Um, so that pretty much completes what I did for last week. For next week, I want to. This doesn't seem right at all. Let's see. Hold on just a second. Okay, so I want to order the custom drill guide from a local shop that a buddy of mine works at. That I think I can get for around $100. I think it's going to make it easier to keep everything lined up. It'll allow us to do it by hand. It'll just make lining up the drill press easier if that's the route we're going to go with the rest of the parts. I'll also look into just having him drill the rest of the parts for precision, and then keep a handful of them for learning and testing. And weigh the pros and cons there. I want to purchase some center bits for the drill press, which is basically a good way to start the hole without it riding around a lot. And then, of course, what we started on is the main goal is finishing measuring, marking, and drilling those angle plates so we can get this chassis built and hopefully the next few sprints. And of course, it's like on my list as always is I still need to do a large file upload to OwnCloud to test if that's the issue, or and probably the better route is to pair up with someone that was interested, which I did look up today. A team member, I think his name is Manish, maybe pronouncing it wrong, but did express some interest in that. So probably the best priority would be to contact him this week and get him access to everything he would need to rock that and keep it awesome. And I actually, this week, unlike many, many weeks, don't have any blocks. So I'm going to leave that to whoever wants to go next.
I can go next. Not too much to say. Regarding the group, the process improvement, we did. I did talk about it, and then on Halloween, there was one child last year. We live in a neighborhood of mostly retirees, so there was one child who came last year, and that family moved away. So nobody. So we ate chocolate bars, little mini chocolate bars. And I browsed around the website just a little bit. I looked at an old Canadian Discovery Channel program, Planet, Daily Planet, that had a nice profile on Joe, but it was like quite a few years ago, but it was interesting. So are we doing the retrospective later?
I did not include mine. I usually break it into kind of two sessions when I do it, so that everybody gets to hear what was done last week and plan for next week before they do their retrospective, because sometimes it changes the numbers. But if you prefer it the other way, feel free to do it now.
No. My plan for next week. So I'm just going to say what I did for next week. I'd probably like to just look around and catch up on things that are going on a little more. I've been following all the stuff about the frame and the angle thing that you're working on. So at some point I hope to get on a build. So I want to just get caught up on some of the things that are being checked out, tested now. And that's it.
Awesome. Thank you, Lauren. Who would like to go next? See that Michael is having some technical issues, so he cannot go next. So who else would like to go next? I think that leaves Milo and Kevin. Yes.
So Milo, if you want to go, since this is my first meeting, I'll be talking about what I'm going to do next week with presumably no blockers. Actually, I guess I can just be short about it. Yeah, my plan is to visit the Linwood shop this Sunday and check things out and see the best place to plug in. And unless there's really bad traffic, I don't expect any blockers.
Cool. You will enjoy the Linwood shop. It is a nice place.
I agree.
Cool.
Last week, I got my computer ordered, DOA video card, so I'm going to have to look around for sale on a card before I get my workstation up. But if you guys want to email me with any projects, I'll probably try to get it working within the next couple weeks, hopefully, as well. So my block right now is just computer not working, and no one has yet given me anything to do. So, yeah. technically I have a cheapo video card. I could be doing it, but it would be pretty crippled. So if you guys want to send something my way, I'll start it on it, but it'll be a while before I can finish it. All right. 0 for myself. TLDR for everyone else. Peace out.
You crack me up, Milo. So is there anyone on the call that has not yet given a stand-up that would like to? I think actually, I'm sorry. I know Michael didn't. Were you able to get your technical difficulties worked out? No. Okay. I can see on your text message there that you did not. Well, if you get it working, feel free closer to the end to do your whole stand up. So I guess that does bring us to retrospective, which Milo did kick us off on. Um, I will go second then, which would be, I would say right now, a 9 for me. I actually hit pretty close to my goals, and I mean, of course, I always want to get more done, but I think that I think it was a super awesome week. Um, and a 9 for the team. I think everything is going super awesome, but I mean, still always there's always room for improvement. That's the whole goal of Scrum, is to constantly improve. And I would propose for a process improvement for this coming week. Something that actually Joe I think mentioned last week, but I think the way that he mentioned it was that we as a team can try to swarm on a particular issue that one shop or one person's working on. Maybe they're blocked on, that we can all swarm on. I would phrase that as something that's common in Scrum, which is that maybe we create somewhere to post a sprint goal for each sprint. And whatever that sprint goal is would, of course, be maybe us swarming on somebody's particular task or project or whatever it is. But yeah, just the implementation of using a sprint goal in addition to the other sprint artifacts and events that we're using. And that would be it for me. So who wanted to go next?
I can go next. So a 1 for me, and 10 for the team. And yeah, I agree that the swarming is what we're supposed to. It's one thing, one of the elements that's really good to do, and kind of we can think about it over the next week. People can propose something, particularly if it's like a blocked thing or something like that. And blocks for me, I'm still got continuing kind of challenges for getting family health and things like that, and that'd be it for me. Thanks.
So I think Milo, you already did your retrospective, correct? Did you have any thing to add for a process improvement or a alternate suggestion or improvement upon what's already been suggested?
Not particularly. Is Carica still up, or are you guys using something else for the list of what's going on you've done?
It is. Its use is limited by when people want to use it. There are many, many backlogs that are still relevant, available in Carica. I do have one for the Texas shop, but it does not match the physical shop. The way I want to try to fix that is just at least getting pictures uploaded into it. Right now, the main thing that we're using it for is like things that we need, like items, whatever, products, whatever, to keep the shop going.
And how's the Scrum-tastic project going? I haven't heard much from that. I thought there was a group of like 10 programmers working on it now.
Right. I'm not exactly sure, but can we let's go ahead and finish up retrospective, and then we can probably cover that in open discussion. Uh, does anyone have a retrospective or process improvement on the call that they have not yet shared that would like to? Okay, well, I guess that wraps up the essential ceremonies, events, whatever you might like to call them, to run a super awesome organization by volunteers with the most amazing goals ever conceived. So that brings us into open discussion, general crosstalk, anything that you want to cover that'll keep our awesome projects moving forward. Did anybody have anything to add? And of course, Milo already asked about the Scrum-tastic Super Scrum Board project. I'll quickly say something about that. I don't know exactly what's going on with it. I think there was a massive amount of interest, and it seems like it may have died out a little bit or a lot. um, I think it's just going to take somebody to hit the forum back up and ask if there's interest and try to keep the ball rolling with it. But I think there's a lot of good ideas there. There is a full Scrum board on Carica with a backlog of exactly what the goal is that needs to be done. I also know that Joe actually went to a developer and priced out what it would cost, and I think the first iteration is in, I want to say, this is off the top of my head, but like in the $4,000 to $5,000 range. So that's just the price range to beat by just being awesome. Um, and I guess that's really what I know about it right now. So I hope that answered or addressed your question, Milo. So Milo says thank you on the text message there. Um, did anybody else have anything else to cover? Any questions? Any crosstalk?
Well, this is Kevin. So, newest guy, I'd certainly open any suggestions on how to get going fast, and any information about the Linwood shop you guys think would be helpful to know to get me oriented quickly and and just kind of the swing of things.
I'm gonna pause for a second and see if Milo has any suggestions because he spent a lot more time in the Linwood shop than I have.
What kind of suggestions is he looking for?
Just a nice way
I'm
to.
just looking for basically.
Go ahead.
Yeah, quick start.
I don't know. I can give you a virtual tour for the shop. When you walk in, on the left side, the first shelf will be a safety shelf. Second shelf will be snack shelf. Those are the two most important shelves. After that, a Carica board, which is basically a backlog of things that have been done and are to be done. On the far wall is tools methodically organized in a visual style so that you can find what you're looking for fast. There are 4 bays, each one dedicated to a different project at a different time. The last one is basically a prototyping lab, mainly used by people such as Michael Hasse and Rob Huggins to get motors working and other various projects. The third bay on the far end. Sorry, am I going too in depth?
No. Yeah, you're being awesome. Sorry, I have a dog situation going on here. It's awesome.
I'm there.
All right. You're at the shop? Wait, what?
No. I'm there. I'm there visually. Hey, when you stop.
Oh, okay. I'm sorry. So anyway, the third bay, second from the far end, is basically the tooling area where saws for cutting pieces of aluminum and the milling machine are kept. Also, access to some of the access parts, and above your head in that bay will be all the aluminum tubes for building new frames and such. Second and first bay are usually used for parking the cars themselves, but that varies depending on the week, what sprint's going on. That's about it. Bathroom upstairs. Usually friendly environment. Lorena and Rob Huggins and Joe Justice try to get there at least once a week, so you should have good company. Lots of times you'll get new people there too, and it's cool. I don't know. Do you have any specific questions? I'm not being very helpful, I don't think.
No, no, that was great. Thanks. Yeah, just looking to get oriented, and then for folks who've been there before, just kind of, exactly kind of what you did. It's just the virtual tour, so I know what to expect.
Here's
Thank you.
a hint. If it sounds like there's going to be a lot of people there, park on the driveway where the hill starts between Joe's place and the shop. If you plan to leave at a reasonable hour.
Okay.
But if you're planning to stay until everyone leaves, just park as close as you can to the over by the fourth bay, and then allow everyone else to get the easy leave spots. Just a thought.
Okay. Okay. Very cool. Thank you.
I just want to add, Milo, that that's probably the best description of the shop ever. Having been there, that was that was perfect. I would add to that that it's incredibly easy to go there and just get involved immediately. There's a lot of thought put into that, I think, because I was there for a few days, I guess, and I just had no problem jumping in right away and having an amazing time.
Very good.
Sorry, I'm having a little bit of lag on my computer. It's making it hard to switch back and forth between muting and not. Um, did anybody else have anything else for crosstalk general discussion? I'll say if not, I'm gonna jump off the call and go really implement some spouse appreciation week, which is go hang out with my wife for a little bit. But I'm definitely willing to stay on the call if anybody had anything to cover that is WIKISPEED related.
I'm just kind of surprised no one had anything for me to design. Like, I don't suck that much yet.
I may have once we finish the actual what we know is working version of these angle plates. Maybe you CAD them up for me real quick because doing it in FreeCAD was very time consuming, and I didn't know my original dimensions. And it's one of those things after it's already laid out on the chassis, it's impossible. FreeCAD does not allow. It's not that parametric. It does not allow you to go back and say, well, I just want to change this one dimension on this part, and it updates everything for me. It's basically just redrawing everything and fighting with the software that's not finished being written yet. So yeah, I might send you they're very simple specs. I might send you the specs to have you CAD up those angle plates if they pass our initial test. So
You're using like a Libre or some Autodesk product, I'm assuming?
yeah, I actually have a version of a Libre on my computer right now, but have not spent the time to dive into it and figure out what's what's the best way to use it or whatever. I haven't really gotten that super familiar with it yet.
By the way, I do have a process improvement for you guys.
Give it.
Go on Amazon if you have the light bulb style that you screw in. Like if you don't already have high quality tube fluorescent lights, go on Amazon, get yourself a couple of like 3,200 lumen bulbs, like the 150 watt replacements, fluorescent compact bulbs, and they light up your shop like really bright.
Awesome.
They're like $10 a piece.
They're just regular screw in. You're talking about like they screw into like a regular incandescent bulb type.
Yeah, just
socket.
a regular socket, and somehow two of them are putting out 5,200 lumens in my room. It's pretty remarkable. Here, just a second.
If you turn your camera on and it's super white, I'm going to be amazed.
Well, I think my mouse just died.
Uh-oh.
The battery on it.
Are you still with us there, Milo? Ah. All right. Well, if, again, I will check that out, Milo. That's actually helpful and interesting because I do have a lighting situation in the shop right now where I'm not sure who wired the original lighting, but almost none of it works properly. Um, so I might actually check that out because right now it's big fluorescent type bulbs that are hung poorly and not wired properly. So it might be something interesting to see if that's a better solution to what we got. Um, and I guess that I'm going to go ahead and jump off the call, guys. Feel free to keep discussing. I will wait just a few minutes and probably come back and stop the recording unless y'all all just say, let's stop it now.
Bye.
I guess that's what I was asking
I got to
for.
drop too.
All right, good night. It was great seeing you on the call, Kevin.
Yeah, great to meet you